Good day, everyone. I am Cheche Cabrera. I used to be the Undersecretary for Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Group of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Currently, I'm a consultant with the World Bank, helping them in 3 projects: the Marawi recovery, the emergency cash transfer, and the rapid assessment of the NCDD disaster response for COVID-19. And I would like to welcome everyone to the Disaster Rehabilitation and Recovery Training. For today's module, I would like to share with you the learning objectives for this particular module and session. First is that of describing the different implementation strategies and modalities for rehabilitation and recovery. The second one is to identify the implementation modalities of the programs, projects, and activities. And the last one is to establish potential collaboration with national government agencies implementing specific PPAs. This session is about the implementation modalities, and I would like to start with the different levels by which these implementation modalities apply. First is that of the national government programs. We have the cash transfer program, we have the nationwide program for local government unit assistance, we have the National Community-Driven Development Program for disaster response modality, and at the local government units, we have the local rehabilitation and recovery initiatives, and the third one on partnership programs, we have a different modalities and strategies for partnerships. We have the national to local government unit partnership, we have LGU to LGU or local government unit to local government unit collaborating with each other, and the government and non-government collaboration, and you have several strategies under this one. We have the public-private partnership. The second is cost-sharing arrangements on the implementation of a particular program, and the third one is on the pre-disaster contract or agreement that the local government unit, the private sector, or even the national government agency partnering with a local government unit or private sector or international organizations will be having an agreement to push for the implementation of a specific PPA. To start with the national government programs, I've cited earlier that we have the cash transfer program. So the cash transfer program can be a conditional or unconditional type. This provides means to implement emergency income support or other disaster cash transfer programs to survivors or victims of disasters. It can also be a conditional or unconditional depending on the nature of the intervention or the PPA, disaster context, and immediacy of the needs. The Cash for Work program and emergency shelter programs are examples of these cash transfer programs. Guidelines and parameters can be developed and adapted based on the mechanisms and systems of the existing cash transfer program that is being implemented. For the national level cash transfer, we have the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program as a concrete example. 4Ps had been implemented nationwide. This is a conditional cash transfer program supporting poor households in order to improve their socioeconomic condition. The program in 2014 had reached over 4.4 million households and benefited more than 9 million children across the country. The households are provided support in order to support them maintaining their children stay in school, children get regular health checkups, and that they are being dewormed, and for the pregnant women in the households to get their pre- and postnatal checkup from the local health center or from other health providing facilities. Now, the experience that we have during Typhoon Yolanda, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, with the approval of the committee providing support to DSWD for 4Ps implementation, the conditionalities had been suspended, enabling the department to distribute over $500 million pesos to the households affected by Yolanda in 9 regional areas. Second, at the national government level program, we have the nationwide program for LGU assistance. This is a catch-up mechanism to assist municipal governments in increasing citizens' access to basic services, at the same time increasing participation of civil society organizations in local governance. The types of projects implemented under this catch-up mechanism includes water system, evacuation facility, local access for small roads, small water impounding, sanitation and health facilities for municipalities nationwide. Third, at the national level program, we have the National Community-Driven Development Program, or NCDDP. This is a program which allows communities to fully participate in planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the programs and projects in their areas. This also covers small-scale post-disaster projects, particularly infrastructure and livelihood projects affecting 1 or 2 communities. An example to this is that of disaster response operations modalities, which is implemented in disaster-affected areas nationwide. The next box deals with the experiences we have in Kalahi CIDC's National Community-Driven Development Program. Again, based on the Yolanda experiences, the NCDDP, through its community-driven development strategy, was able to provide support to 847 targeted municipalities. 524 used the Kalahi NCDD DROM, or the disaster response modality, to implement post-Yolanda recovery sub-projects. Of this total, 83%, or 15,733 sub-projects were in Yolanda-affected areas. This includes construction of roads and other flood or river control, community centers, or multipurpose center buildings in different communities nationwide. I would like to share with you our experiences implementing the Kalahi SEED's National Community-Driven Development Program, which was set up in 2002. Box 9 provides you with the details of these experiences. The Kalahi CIDC's, which is now the National Community-Driven Development Program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, has a wide geographic coverage operating in poorest municipalities, which are also the most vulnerable to disasters. The program has a well-established network of community facilitators and community volunteers helping identify, implement, monitor the PPAs and sub-projects in their local areas. A contingent component of the NCDDP was designed to simplify procedures in case of disasters, and this is what happened in the disaster response operations modality. So procedures for community managed financial activities, procurement activities, and even the contributions of the local government units for local counterpart contributions had been modified. For the local government unit programs, we have existing programs funded by the regular local government unit income and from outside sources such as grants. For projects and activities intending to address immediate and early recovery needs, or projects which do not require huge budget all at once, all funds are readily available at the local government unit. For partnership programs at the national government level, we also have partnership with the LGU in implementing programs. For a program that is nationally driven or nationally formulated but encourages wider participation of LGUs in implementation phase, it includes technical assistance in the preparation of project documents, and guidance on the utilization of funds and liquidation of expenses implementing sub-projects. I would like to continue my sharing on the experiences of the DILG implementing support to the local government units affected by Yolanda. So with the funds that DILG had released to the local government units, the LGUs used this to reconstruct the areas affected by Yolanda. For projects amounting to 5 million and below, the LGUs used this amount through administration of locally funded projects, and that any projects amounting to 5 million and above, they use competitive bidding to implement the project. All the fund releases from DILG to the local government units and disbursements thereof had been guided by a memorandum circular issued by DILG for the purpose. In addition to this, the DILG also released an amount to the DPWH for construction of major projects, and this had been implemented also in Yolanda-affected areas. So this includes reconstruction of totally damaged LGU-owned facilities and structures through a memorandum of agreement between the DILG and the DPWH. Still on the partnership programs, we have the LGU to LGU collaboration. This includes projects that would benefit more LGUs instead of one. So for projects that would connect one municipality to another, LGU collaboration may be used. Examples to this are the construction of roads that cut across several LGUs, bridges connecting two municipalities, common production facilities or equipment, social services facilities such as hospitals, health units, schools, learning centers, and other projects that would benefit more than one LGU. Still on the partnership programs, I would like to share the government and non-government collaboration in implementing a project. This collaboration, however, requires a legal instrument to be executed for formalizing the arrangement and collaboration between the parties. Examples to this, first we have the public-private partnership in implementing project. Second is cost-sharing arrangement between parties in order to come up with the amount required for the project. And then the last one here is the pre-disaster contract or agreement between government and a private sector partner or even international partner. Still on the partnership programs, government and non-government collaboration involving public-private partnership. The DILG Memorandum Circular Number 2016-120 provided for the implementation of the PPP for the People Initiative for Local Governments, or LGU P4. LGU can enter into a contractual arrangement with the private sector to implement public infrastructure and all service projects through various modalities. And the LGUs are also encouraged to adopt an LGU P4 code to guide the implementation of LGU P4 projects. Box 11 provides for the specific guidelines for the implementation of public-private partnership for People's Initiative, which had been implemented by the local government units. The use of the implementation modality referring to the PPP will be subject to the approval and reporting procedure specified under the law in accordance with the following. For national projects, the projects must be part of the agency's development programs and shall be approved as follows. Projects costing up to 300 million shall be submitted to the ICC for approval. Second is that projects costing more than 300 million shall be submitted to the NEDA board for approval upon the recommendation of the ICC. And the last one, regardless of the amount, Negotiated projects shall be submitted to the NIDA board for approval upon recommendation of the ICC. Continuing discussion on the PPP guidelines, I would like to share that the local projects implemented by the LGUs shall be submitted by the concerned LGU for confirmation as follows. To the Municipal Development Council for projects costing up to 20 million. Second is that the Provincial Development Council for those costing above 20 million up to 50 million pesos. Next is that to the City Development Council for those projects costing above 50 million, and to the Regional Development Council, or in the case of Metro Manila projects, the Regional Development Council for Metro Manila, for those costing above 50 million up to 200 million pesos, and to the ICC for those projects costing above 200 million. And the third example for the partnership programs, we have the cost-sharing arrangement, where the government identifies certain programs, projects, and activities under the Rehabilitation and Recovery Program that can be funded or implemented by partners. The private sector, development partners, and non-government organizations select among the new projects that will be implemented who and what they want to provide. And then the national government and the LGUs are expected to provide a conducive environment for partners to implement these projects. Under a cost-sharing arrangement, the Rebuilding Marawi through Community-Driven Shelter and Livelihood Support Project is being implemented using a cost-sharing arrangement between the United Nations Human Settlements Program, or UN Habitat, and the Government of the Philippines, represented by the Social Housing Finance Corporation. The collaboration focuses on community-driven shelter construction and livelihood development for families and communities affected by the 2017 Marawi siege, specifically the components and collaboration, including the construction of 1,500 permanent housing for the affected households and 10 community infrastructure, and the provision of livelihood support capacity development opportunities for the beneficiaries. The UN Habitat and the Socialized Housing Finance Corporation have specific responsibilities in implementing these components. The UN Habitat is responsible for the construction of the permanent housing units, the conduct of livelihood training for communities and partners, and SHFC shall, among others, allocate the funds needed for the acquisition of land and site development and facilitate coordination among UN Habitat and concerned government agencies and the local government unit of Marawi City. Still on the partnership programs, we have the government and non-government collaboration. Under this, we have the pre-disaster contract or agreement between the government and a private sector partner or international organization. Government may opt to execute a pre-disaster contract or agreement with a private company or international organization to deliver specific rehabilitation interventions. In some cases, examples had been provided that UN organizations contracted by the Philippine government agencies undertake the procurement of very important supplies, materials, and equipment. Okay. In closing, I would like to stress again that there are different implementation strategies available for adoption by the local government unit, non-government organization, and the national government organization for implementation of recovery and rehabilitation. The few that I had mentioned had been implemented in affected areas by Super Typhoon Yolanda and other types of hazards and disasters, but there are still lots of available options that may be opted to by the local government units should they desire. So the local participants, you can discuss with your chief executive as what appropriate modality will best suit your local situation. Again, I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you very much for your participation in today's meeting and discussion. Thank you.